Oh, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anita Zucker, and it is a profound honor as a second-generation survivor to stand before you as tonight's Master of Ceremonies. At this time, I would like to invite Rabbi Purton, the head of Addlestone Hebrew Academy, to lead us in an invocation. As we gather to remember the Holocaust and honor its victims, it is especially meaningful to have our local Jewish leaders guiding us in reflection. Please join me in welcoming Rabbi Purton.
Tonight is ours. It does not belong to the historians, researchers, or authors. It does not belong to the cruel world that stood by and ignored the Shoah, the Holocaust, and turned a blind eye to Nazi atrocities. Tonight belongs to the survivors, the children and grandchildren of survivors, to Am Yisrael, the Jewish nation that was marked for extinction and yet lives. It belongs to the righteous amongst the nations who refused to be bystanders and chose instead to save and protect and resist Nazi tyranny at significant risk to their own lives. Tonight belongs to all those who remember and those who will never forget. Tonight belongs to every one of us in this room who have gathered to pay tribute to the memories of the victims of the Shoah. Tonight is our time to mourn, to grieve not only what was taken, but was never allowed to be. 6 million of our people were murdered. Among them, approximately 1.5 million children. Children who never had a chance to grow up, learn Torah, build homes, marry under a chuppah, fulfill their life's mission, or raise families. They were robbed not only of their life, but of their legacy. We mourn the lives taken, and we mourn what could have been. The Holocaust is not a dark, distant memory. It lives on in us. It is an invisible shadow that stretches across generations. And even as we have said, never again, again, and again, the recent horrors of the Simchat Torah October 7th massacre remind us of how fragile those words can be. Never again, if only. Several years ago, I had the privilege of hearing Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, of blessed memory. He said, we are more than merely encouraged to remember the Holocaust. We are required to do so. He went on to say, but remembrance cannot end with sorrow alone. We are required to take the memory of the Shoah and allow it to move us, change us, transform us, to stand up for the rights of minorities, people who are marginalized, and anyone who is discriminated against. The Torah commands us time and time again to protect the most vulnerable, the stranger, the orphan, the widow, those without protection, without a voice. We are called upon to be their voice. We are obligated to learn from our communal and collective suffering to create a more compassionate world, to become not only keepers of memory, but defenders of humanity. So tonight we cry for what was, but we also declare who we must be. Please rise and let us pray. Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the world, as we remember the Kedoshim, the holy victims of the Shoah, give us strength to carry their memory with faithfulness and conviction. May their lives inspire us to live with courage, to act with compassion, and to stand firmly for what is right. May this evening of remembrance deepen our unity, strengthen our resolve, and bring kavod, honor, to the memory of those who are lost. Let us conclude by praying that the words, never again, shall become a reality in our lifetime. Yehi Zichronam Baruch. May the memory of the holy victims of the Shoah be a blessing. May their souls look down upon us from the highest heights in heaven and watch over us and protect us with love. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Purton, for that inspiring prayer. My name is Fred Volkman. I'm the proud son of Holocaust survivors, chair of the Remember program, and Charleston Jewish Federation board member. On behalf of the Federation's professionals, board, and the Yom HaShoah committee, we want to welcome you and thank the Citadel for hosting and allowing us to use this wonderful facility for Charleston's 2025 Yom HaShoah program, Upstanders. Each year, we gather to remember and honor the lives lost in the Holocaust. We reflect on their suffering, their resilience, and their legacy. This year, we focus not only on memory, but on action, the responsibility we all have to stand up, speak out, and be upstanders in the face of injustice. We know the power of hate, but history has also shown us the power of one, the power of those who risked everything to help their neighbors, the power of resilience in the survivors who rebuilt lives and communities from the ashes, the power of the next generation to educate, inspire, and fight for a better future. Through the Charleston Jewish Federation's Remember program, we see this power in action every day. Our Speakers Bureau reaches thousands each year, sharing personal stories of survival and courage. The Remember Project, our high school cohort, continues to grow, guiding young people to become leaders in their school and beyond. This year, we took an important step forward with the launch of our 3G group, giving the grandchildren of survivors a platform to carry forward their families' legacies. Tonight, we also honor the memories of those we have lost in the past year. While they may not have spoken often or publicly, their stories still matter, their lives still matter, and it is our duty to ensure that they are not forgotten. Joe Engel, of blessed memory, ended every talk with the same words: remember and be kind. Today we take those words a step further. Remember and take action. Stand up, speak out, and be an upstander. It is now my honor to invite Rabbi Rosen, Associate Rabbi at KKBE, to continue this evening's program.
Thank you, Fred, and thank all of you for being with us this evening as we remember the past and use the lessons to inform the present and future. Please join me in this responsive reading. You can follow along with the words on the screen. We recall with bitter grief the catastrophe which overwhelmed our people in Europe, adding an unprecedented chapter to our history of suffering. The cruelties of Pharaoh, Haman, Nebuchadnezzar, and Titus cannot be compared with the diabolical schemes of the modern tyrants who sought to exterminate an entire people. We will never forget the burning of the synagogues and houses of study, the destruction of holy books and scrolls of Torah, the sadistic torment and murder of scholars, sages, and teachers. We recall our brothers and sisters in the Warsaw Ghetto and in other hellish places who valiantly rose up and defied the monstrous adversaries. Even as we mourn, we recall those precious few compassionate men and women of other faiths and nationalities who, at the peril of their lives, saved some of our people. O God, remember your martyred children. Remember all who have given their lives for the sanctification of your name. And let us say, Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Rosen. As the daughter of two survivors, I know how important it is to share their stories, to remember the Jewish values they imparted to us, and to stand up for others. Tonight's keynote speaker, Joyce Kamen, is no stranger to the importance of standing up for others. Joyce is an Emmy and Telly Award-winning writer, director, and producer with a distinguished career in media and communications. Her agency, Kamen Creative, provided strategic communications for over 35 years, working extensively with nonprofits, including the American Jewish Archives and the Cincinnati Park Board. She introduced and she produced the acclaimed documentary, Because They Were Jews, Cincinnati Survivors of the Holocaust Remember, as well as Cincinnati Reflections, a 3-part series on the city's history. Joyce's journalism and broadcasting career includes roles at various TV and radio stations. Recently, she co-authored the Upstander Stories children's book series with her granddaughter, highlighting individuals who risked their lives to save Jews during the Holocaust. Joyce has also received numerous community service awards for her contributions to Holocaust remembrance and Jewish communal life. Joyce, please come up to the stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this very special commemoration here in Charleston, our newly adopted home. We are so glad to be here with you today. We are here to remember tonight. It's why we have gathered together in this setting, in this way. It is through the very act of remembering, even when it is painful and wounding, that we can find inspiration that leads us to a better, brighter, and more distinctively hopeful future. And that is what we will do together tonight. I had to help them. There was no choice, said Oskar Schindler, who saved over 1,000 Jews during the Holocaust. It was his truthful answer to the question of why he risked his life and his livelihood to save Jews when he knew that saving Jews was forbidden. Saving Jews was punishable, even by death, under the murderous Hitler regime. His was the answer of an unflinching upstander. We're about to meet others. Late one afternoon 2 years ago, my phone rang. When I saw it, it was my then 15-year-old granddaughter Lily calling. My heart leapt, as it does any time I see one of my children or grandchildren calling. You may all relate to that, correct? I thought so. Bubby, she began, do you remember the book project I did last year with my class? Did I remember? Of course I did. What a question. It would be difficult to forget. Lily, a gifted artist since early childhood, illustrated the book entitled Manic and Hannah that her class was producing as a special project. The book told the Holocaust survivor stories of 2 beloved members of their Jewish community in New Jersey. Manic told the students that he and his family survived by living in the forests of Poland, sleeping in the day and foraging for food at night. Hannah told them how she and her family were taken to the ghetto in Krakow before being deported to Auschwitz. Their survival from that notorious death camp was indeed miraculous. Lily was so inspired by the project, she wanted to do more to help bring these survival stories into the light. I'd like to create the illustrations for a book for kids on Papa Fred's mother's story, Lily said. Would you like to work on it with me, Bubby? I'll do the drawings, and you can write it. I'm just going to be honest, I nearly burst into tears as she said that. Of course, sweetheart, I told her. Of course I will. Lily knew the remarkable story of how her Papa Fred's biological mother, Anna, survived the Holocaust. Lily and I quickly began our work together, energized about producing a book that could gently introduce young readers to the difficult history of the Holocaust through very thoughtful storytelling. We also knew that Anna's unlikely story of survival would powerfully convey a compelling response to an enduring moral question with which many have wrestled in our lifetimes. Would we, each one of us here gathered in this auditorium tonight, would we have been capable of summoning the courage to step forward to help save Jews or others imperiled by the Nazis during World War II? We can answer that only for ourselves. That is when Lily and I decided that we should focus this book and any books that would follow around the upstander theme. What is an upstander? It's pretty simple. An upstander is the opposite of a bystander. Bystanders see bad things happening to others and they do nothing to help. Upstanders see these same things and they step forward to help. The concept of being an upstander was one that I had wholeheartedly embraced years before as a docent and a member of the Speakers Bureau at the Nancy and David Wolf Holocaust and Humanities Center in Cincinnati. The focus of our work at HHC is cultivating upstanders throughout the world. This is a dedicated year-round public effort with multiple upstander events for students, parents, teachers, museum visitors, and all who live in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. Being an upstander was a most appropriate theme for our books, again, targeted towards young people ages 8 to 12. For Lily and me, we knew that it was solely due to the brave actions of an upstander that Anna was able to survive, and Papa Fred was even able to be born. In the end, Lily and I both learned just how much being an upstander in the world really matters. It really does. In fact, we have grown to believe, together, Lily and I, that upstandership is critically essential to the well-being of all humanity throughout the world. Perhaps you do too. Book 2 in our Upstander series, Golda, Stashek, and the Helpers, recounts the harrowing tale of how my children's elementary school teacher, Golda, was saved as an infant by an upstander who ultimately sacrificed his life to save Jews faced with deportation in his Nazi-occupied Polish community. But for today, we're going to focus this evening on the very personal story in our first book, the story of Anna and Dr. Helmy. It's a way of powerfully illustrating our core conviction on the requisite nature of being upstanders in the world. All of us, not just some, all of us. Anna was a teenager in Berlin when the Nazis came to power. Soon, because she was Jewish, she could no longer attend her German public school, and her family could not shop in German-owned stores or be treated by German doctors. Jewish-owned businesses were being vandalized and burned throughout Nazi-occupied territories. Their family doctor was Dr. Mohammed Helmy, an Arab Muslim urologist from Alexandria, Egypt, who first came to Berlin to study medicine, and then he remained there to practice. When Anna and members of her family received deportation orders to assemble at the train station, they knew from the many stories they'd heard, that if they got on that train, it was unlikely that they would ever return. They hurriedly rushed to Dr. Helmy's office seeking help. They knew that Dr. Helmy made no secret of the fact that the edicts and the actions of the Third Reich were abhorrent to him, and he railed against them publicly. This, as you might expect, cost him his job as director of urology at the Robert Koch Hospital in Berlin, necessitating his move into private practice, caring for patients German doctors were not permitted to treat. Dr. Helmy immediately assured Anna and her family that he would help them, an Arab Muslim physician aiding Jews. Even in a matter this dire, would have been unsurprising in Berlin, especially given Dr. Helmy's loathing for the Hitler regime. Overall, however, it's important to recall that at the beginning of the 20th century, Berlin had a sizable and highly esteemed Arab community, which was known to have very good relations with the city's Jewish residents. In fact, there are records of German-born Jewish physicist Albert Einstein and German-Jewish philosopher Martin Buber gathering for events at the Berlin Mosque with academic notables such as German theologian Martin Niemöller, German novelist and Nobel laureate Thomas Mann, and German-Swiss poet and novelist Hermann Hesse. Indeed, Dr. Helmy did not hesitate for even a moment to help Anna and her family. He quickly put together an elaborate plan to save them all. First, he sent Anna's mother and grandmother to the home of another of his patients named Frieda Sturman, a selfless, non-Jewish upstander who was already hiding Jews, but she told Dr. Helmy that she would make room for 2 more. Dr. Helmy took responsibility for protecting and hiding Anna himself. First, he arranged to hide her from the Nazis in a tiny garden shed called a Laube in the back of a house in the Buch suburb of Berlin. The house belonged to his German-born fiancée, Emmy, who he could not marry because he was considered a Hamite, and therefore he was disqualified from marrying a German woman. Hamites refer to a group of people who are believed to be descendants of Ham, one of the sons of Noah, in the Bible. The term has been used historically to categorize certain populations in Africa as being of Hamitic origin. However, the concept of Hamites has been widely discredited in modern scholarship due to its association with racial stereotypes and colonial ideologies. Because Dr. Helmy had trained Anna months earlier to be a medical assistant, she was out of school, of course, he devised quite an ingenious plan. He put her to work in his office, but that alone did not guarantee her safety. After all, she was still a Jewish girl. So he arranged for her to assume a new identity as a Muslim woman. These are copies of the actual certificates he created. He changed her name to Nadia. He forged an identity certificate from the Islamic Institute of Berlin, which looked totally legit. It was not, it was forged. He married her to a Muslim man in a fake marriage ceremony and bought her traditional female Muslim clothing. Dr. Helmy, as you might expect, had been on the Nazis' radar since, as you now know, he frequently spoke out against the Reich. He was arrested 3 times and used in prisoner exchanges, but he was released. One of the conditions of his release was that he would treat the highest-ranking Nazi officers at SS headquarters in Berlin. He did so taking Anna, aka Nadia, with him directly into the mouth of the lion. If you just want to take a moment to take that in. They walked into SS headquarters, she and Dr. Helmy, to treat the SS officers who were the architects of the Holocaust. These dramatic historic events are meticulously detailed in German-Israeli journalist Roman Steinke's book, recently translated into English, entitled Anna and Dr. Helmy. It's a great read, and you should check it out at the library or I'm sure wherever you can find books. With an uncanny ability to outwit the Nazis at every turn, even when the Nazis got close several times to finding Anna, Dr. Helmy kept Anna safe and alive at tremendous risk to his own life. He did this every single day for 2 years, never once turning back from his personal moral commitment to Anna and her family. Doing so might have meant death for Anna, her family, and likely Dr. Helmy himself. My granddaughter, Lily, recently visited Auschwitz and Majdanek for the first time, knowing that Auschwitz would have been Anna's fate had Dr. Helmy not intervened. She shared some of her reflections from Israel this week.
Going to the camps and seeing everything made it all feel very real. I had never been to any before. I had heard stories, I'd seen pictures and videos, but I think definitely seeing everything with my own eyes was a very different experience. I think for me specifically, seeing the gate that I have drawn pictures of and I think included in some of my artwork was very powerful, I guess, to see in person. It was hard to even imagine such a time. I wanted to get this message across, but in a way that was educational and not scary. The drawings that I did is making everything elementary age appropriate. So finding a way to draw Hitler's figure in a way that maybe was not so scary, and a way to include the propaganda, but also in a way that was not too overwhelming for children, was something that was very intentional in each of my drawings. I don't really know anyone else who gets this opportunity. It was, I feel like, a combination of a lot of things that I strongly value and I'm very passionate about. But then I also got to do this project with you and learn from you and spend time with you. These stories not only educate some about what happened during the Holocaust, but can educate people about how to be a better person or how to be an upstander. I think that it's my generation's job to keep them alive, to continue to tell them and not to let them just be a report on paper or a story that one person knows. What I've been reminded of is that all it takes is one person to save a life.
Lily, yeah. Lily is in Israel as part of a school. She's a senior, so they went for 3.5 months to Poland and then to Israel. She's got 3 more weeks and then she'll be home. Lily knew her Papa Fred was adopted at birth, but she was still a little girl in 2013 when we first found Fred's birth family. 3 months after meeting Fred's brother and sister for the first time, Israel's Yad Vashem held an international news conference to announce that they had named the first ever Arab Muslim as one of the righteous among the nations, Israel's highest civilian honor. To this day, Dr. Helmy remains the only Arab Muslim to hold this distinction. Dr. Helmy died in 1982. So the award was accepted by his great-nephew, Dr. Nasser Khatbi, at a ceremony in 2017 Fred and I attended with his sister Carla and her husband Barry at the German Foreign Ministry in Berlin. The award included a silver medal inscribed with the words from the Talmud, "Whoever saves a single life saves an entire universe." Understand this. The full meaning of this saying is demonstrated when survivors' families come together to honor a rescuer. And that's what we did that night in Berlin. We came together to honor Dr. Helmy. He saved our universe. We know that. Frieda Sturman, who hid Anna's mother and grandmother, was also designated as a righteous among the nations at the very same time. I cannot begin to describe to you the range of emotions Fred and I experienced that October week in 2017 in Berlin. We were glad to learn that after the war, the Helmys were able to marry and spend the rest of their lives together, and they were so deeply happy and in love. I recall walking through Berlin's Holocaust Memorial with Fred, thinking about by the way, Fred's here tonight. Fred's back there. Raise your hand, Fred. He loves when I do that, right? I was thinking about how he, his sister Carla, and his brother Charlie were even born. I couldn't even imagine how that happened. The odds against Anna and her family surviving the Nazi conflagration were so stacked against them. It was then that it vividly occurred to me, and stay with me on this, okay? Dr. Helmy is still saving lives today. He's still saving lives. Fred is only alive because of Dr. Helmy. And now Fred, a pulmonologist, has been saving lives every day for the past 40 years, never more so than during the pandemic. As you know, pulmonologists were quite busy. So if you think an act of upstandership you do today has changed someone's life, you can't even imagine now how your one act of human kindness can be impacting a life 100 years from now. Because it can. It does. We're here to tell you, it does. 35 years ago, in 1990, I was asked by the Combined Generations of the Holocaust, our local survivors group, to become the director of Project Eternity, Cincinnati Survivors of the Holocaust Remember. There are some of my friends here from Cincinnati who were part of that project, and I'm just so grateful that you all asked me to do that at the time. It was the honor of a lifetime. So thank you to all of my Cincinnati friends here in the audience today. I love you dearly. From 1990 to 1993, I recorded a total of 42 oral histories of Holocaust survivors in our community. They included testimonies from concentration camp and labor camp survivors, partisans who were the resistance fighters, those who were hidden by non-Jews, those who wandered for years through forests and villages, those who succeeded in daring escapes, and liberators. At the end of each gut-wrenching interview, I would get into my car and I'd sit there for a really long time and I'd wonder, sometimes aloud, how something as devastatingly murderous and inhumane like the Holocaust could have ever happened. Most of us still can't wrap our minds around the enormity of what happened. Just as disturbing to me, though, was this question. How could millions of people in countries where art, literature, music, science, medicine, business, and law been conscripted to do Hitler's bidding? How was that even possible? Did those millions once believe, before the rise of the Third Reich, that mass roundup, deportation, and extermination of Jews, their own countrypersons and neighbors, were actions to be reviled and summarily rejected? Even before I had ever heard the word upstander, I agonized on those trips home about where those who could have stepped forward to help were. Where were they? What if was the question that would never recede from my mind. What if everyone was an upstander is the only question I ask now. In 1993, a group from our Cincinnati synagogue, Adath Israel congregation, traveled to Washington, D.C. to not only visit the then 4-month-old U.S. Memorial Holocaust Museum, but to hand carry the boxes upon boxes of interview videotapes to deliver them to the museum in perpetuity, where they will forever convey the soul-searing stories of these brave survivors, some of who were saved by remarkable upstanders who had hearts full of love for the sanctity of all human life. You can see these stories by searching Project Eternity/Cincinnati on the museum's website. There are myriad ways to be an upstander in the world. Indeed, when we speak of the Holocaust, we think of upstanders who have risked their lives and their safety to help others. But just listen to how these upstanders have changed the world in extremely safe but very powerful ways. 18-year-old Alexander Knoll created the Ability app that serves people with disabilities by providing a roadmap of accessible public spaces and businesses. I was told no so many times, but I kept going because I knew it could help so many people, he said. At 17, Charlotte Rosario founded the Community Photo Booth to use the power of youth and photography to address needs in her community and around the world. Charlotte's Community Photo Booth donations have supported 16 global causes, including a humanitarian health clinic in war-torn Sudan and protective gear for Ukrainian photographers documenting the war. I will never stop trying to make the world a better place, and I will forever focus with my camera and with my heart on the invisible. At the age of 15, Jonah Larson founded Jonah's Hands to use his passion for crocheting to raise $75,000 for school improvements in the Ethiopian village where he was born. I hope my work can help bring the world together, one stitch at a time, he says. Nicholas Lowinger, when he was a tween, he met a brother and sister experiencing homelessness and thus kicked off an organization that would come to be known as Gotta Have Soul, through which footwear has been donated to over 99,000 children in homeless shelters. Yash Gupta was inspired to collect eyeglasses for children in need at only 14 years old after breaking his own corrective lenses and having to wait a while for a replacement. That prompted him to launch his Sight Learning organization. They have given out over $1.5 million worth of eyewear in places like Mexico, Honduras, Haiti, and India. Ruby Bridges' brave entry into an all-white school marked a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. It showcased the power of courage in the face of adversity. We have some notable upstanders among us tonight. They're deserving of broad community recognition. Before I conclude, I'd like to invite Acadia Reynolds and Joe Rothstein to come forward to introduce us to upstanders Patrick Martin, Lisa Reisinger, and Angie Kruger.
Okay. Patrick Martin is a high school English teacher at Charleston County School of the Arts. Despite the demands of his role as an educator, Patrick is a passionate advocate and a dedicated member of our Remember Committee. Each year, he goes above and beyond, recommending outstanding students for our high school cohort and making sure his students have the opportunity to hear from members of our Speakers Bureau. Patrick exemplifies what it means to be an upstander, showing that even small, consistent actions can create powerful ripple effects. I had Mr. Martin 2 years ago. I was in his AP Literature class, and I think the thing that I admired most about him was how he was invested in both my academic success and me as a person. He has this thing where he gives awards to students that he particularly notices something going on with them. And he gave me an award that he called the Duck Award, which is calm on top and doing a lot underneath. And it was, really important to me to have my effort acknowledged, even though, I was doing fine in his class and everything. He saw all the effort that I was putting in, and I really appreciated that. He also sponsored my submission to a Holocaust art and writing contest that I later won. And he encouraged me to apply for the Remember cohort, which is a group of teens focused in Holocaust education and learning to be leaders for our own communities. And he's done a lot for me, and I really appreciate what he's done.
I think I need a ladder. How's that? All right. I am so proud to be able to present to you three very special upstander educators. Lisa Reisinger, please stand. In her 30 years as an educator teaching middle school social studies and now retired, Lisa initiated and promoted programs that have been dynamic in their approach to bringing the Holocaust into the minds and hearts of her students by having them research Holocaust survivors' memoirs to create scrapbooks based on their experiences. Stay standing. Angie Kruger, please stand. A social studies educator at Beechwood Middle School in Lexington, Angie partnered with Lisa. They are a true dynamic duo, and now continues to refine and promote Holocaust programs that ensure the lessons of the Holocaust are not only taught, but are deeply felt and remembered by her students. Leah Sarantopoulos, please stand. Principal at Beechwood Middle School, Leah has been a strong supporter and mentor of dynamic Holocaust programs, including the emotionally moving Stars Without a Heaven exhibit, displayed at Beechwood this year. This exhibit is dedicated to the unique stories of children who lived and died in the Holocaust. We are so grateful for these dedicated upstanders. Thank you, Leah, Angie, and Lisa, for all that you do.
Thank you for all you do. I just wanted to say that too. We're all grateful to you. Elie Wiesel said, "I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor." The word itself, upstander, a person of moral courage who rises to help others, has the ability to empower us all to make an active change in our schools, as exemplified by our teachers, in our communities, in our cities, in our states, and in the nation, to move to a shared understanding of the sanctity of the pursuit of justice for all. Our individual choices to stand up, to speak up, and to show up shape history itself. The word upstander begs us to explore how each one of us can make the world a more loving and comforting place to be. I know that you are already an upstander. So, how has your life been changed for the better thanks to the intervention of an upstander? There's no better time than right now. Commit to moving through the world as an upstander. Stand up, step up, speak up, be an upstander. Thank you all for being here.
Before I begin, Patrick, do you mind just standing up so we can give you a round of applause? Awesome. Thank you all for being here tonight. And Joyce, thank you for reminding us of the power of one. My name is Natanya Miller, Director of Educational Initiatives for the Charleston Jewish Federation and the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor. Tonight, I'm thrilled to introduce a new tradition, the first ever Remember Program Upstander recognition. This recognition honors those who exemplify what it means to stand up, to speak out, and to ensure that the lessons of the Holocaust are never forgotten. As we have heard time and again tonight, an upstander is someone who refuses to stay silent in the face of injustice, someone who educates, inspires, and takes action. And there is no group more deserving of this recognition, I'm gonna get choked up. Then the members of our Speakers Bureau. These survivors, children of survivors, and now grandchildren of survivors, dedicate countless hours traveling across the state, sharing their families' stories. They step into classrooms, community centers, and houses of worship, making history real for thousands. They speak not only of pain and loss, but of resilience, of hope, and of the responsibility that we all share to fight hatred in all of its forms. Since last year's Yom Hashoah, our speakers have reached over 2,000 people. Their voices bridge generations. Their stories change lives. And their commitment ensures that never again is not just a phrase, but a call to action. It is my great honor to present the Remember Program Upstander Recognition to the members of our Speakers Bureau. If you are currently, or have been in the past, a member of our Speakers Bureau, would you please stand so we can acknowledge you? And please join me in recognizing their incredible dedication.
Sorry, I need the stand. Short woman needs it. Anyway, thank you. This has been really special. This has been really special. And Patrick Martin, I've been in your classroom as well. Thank you very much for all that you do for your students, because it's obvious. As we reflect on the theme now of being an upstander, we turn to a song that has become one of the most powerful musical tributes to remembrance and resilience. Eli Eli was written in 1942 by Hannah Senes, a Jewish resistance fighter who risked everything to stand against the Nazis. Set to music after her death, this song, often played on Yom HaShoah, has become one of Israel's most beloved anthems of remembrance. Its simple yet profound words are a prayer, one that echoes across generations, reminding us of the beauty of life and the responsibility we all share to protect it. Please join us as Ari Zelig leads us in Eli Eli, both in Hebrew and in English. The words are going to be on the screen. Thank you.
אלי שלא ייגמר לעולם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם. In English now. My God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. Eli, Eli, שלא ייגמר לעולם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם. One more time in English all together. My God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the water, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. Eli, Eli, שלא ייגמר לעולם. החול והים, ריש רוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם. החול והים, ריש רוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם.
As we move forward in our program, we shift from reflection to solemn remembrance. We now turn our attention to those we have lost, both the millions murdered in the Holocaust and the survivors in our own community who are no longer with us. The names that you will see across the screen are one way that we act upon our collective memory. As a people, we often say Zachor, remember, when discussing the atrocities of the Holocaust. Not only is Zachor about individual remembering, but it is also about collective memory. These names reflect only a fraction of the 11 million who were murdered during the Holocaust. We read these names out of respect for their families who are part of the Charleston community. Please read every name that scrolls across the screen as it represents a life that was cut short. If you are able, we invite you to stand as your family is on the screen. If you feel compelled, we invite you to remain standing throughout the entire reading. During the video, you will hear Zognish Kane Mol, the partisan song, one of the anthems of Holocaust survivors. The lyrics were written in 1943 by Hirsch Glick in the Vilna ghetto after hearing news of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. Written in Yiddish, the title means never say and became a symbol of resistance against Nazi Germany's persecution of the Jews and was adapted by many partisan groups throughout Eastern Europe.
The family of Denny Krant Atkins. The family of Matiste Agrest. The Albinovic family. The family of Esther Beckman. The family of Zelia Barlow of blessed memory. The family of Naftali Berger. The family of Frida Bernstein and Josine Goschalk-Rivas. The family of Aaron Boynton. The family of Leon Brett of blessed memory. The family of Sarah Brett of blessed memory. The family of Janet Chesley. The Engel family. The family of Noah Feit. The family of Dr. Dennis Fisher. The Fox family. The family of Margot S. Friedenberg. The family of Vivian family of Sam Green of blessed memory, the family of Reggie Gigi, the family of Isaac Hopstein, the family of Max B. Hellman, the family of Madeline Hershenson, the family of Deborah Hirschkorn, the family of Joyce Kamen, the family of Pincus Khan of blessed memory, the family of Shalom Korai and Aaron Melvin Holman, the Fetterman family, the family of Brenda Letterman, the Lend family, the family of Lara Leroy, the family of Jeanette Goldstein and Walter Leventhal, the family of Maury Lipton of blessed memory, the family of Sonia Livingston, the family of David Levy, the family of Deborah Lukash, the family of Charles and Alicia Horowitz of blessed memory, blessed memory, and Rachel Steinhardt. Marshall and Sarah Blanchard, the family of Sonia Wetz, the family of Chaim Woolrich, the family of Sylvia Zilberg, the
Next, I would like to ask Rabbi Bart of Brit Shalom Beth Israel and Rabbi Mimron of Congregation Dor Tikva to lead us in the El Molei Rachamim, a traditional Jewish memorial prayer. This prayer, which means God full of compassion, is recited to honor the souls of those who have passed, particularly victims of the Holocaust. It is a plea for rest and peace for those of us who suffered, a tribute to their memory, and a reminder of our duty to keep their stories alive.
First, recite the prayer in Hebrew. Last, all those who are able to please rise. El Molei Rachamim Shalchein B'Mromim Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Al Kanfei Hashchina B'Ma'alot Kedoshim U'Tehorim Kizohar Kiamasirim and Ishmot Sheshet Milyon HaKadoshim Anashim Nashim V'Taf Kihilot HaKodesh Shemasru Nafsham Al Kedushat Hashem Beinehem Tinokot Shel Beit Rolan Shelo Tamu Tamchet Haneumim V'Hanimim B'Chayem U'Motam Lo Nifradu B'Gan Eden Tehei Menuchatam Lachin Barachamim, Yastireim, B'Sefer Kenafal Yolamim, Yitzror B'Tzor HaChayim et Nishmotem, Adonai L'Nachalatam, V'yanuchu B'Shalom B'Shkelotehem, V'nomar Amen.
God, full of mercy, who dwells in the heights, shelter them beneath the wings of your presence high among the holy and the pure who shine like the brilliant heavens. Shelter the souls of the innocent 6 million men, women, and children, holy communities who were slaughtered in the Holocaust, strangled, suffocated, and burned to ash. Amongst them young children who never tasted sin, in their life and death were not separated. Their holy souls pass into your care. Let the Garden of Eden be their resting place. Master of mercy, drape them and keep them forever in your protecting presence and bind their souls to the living and to life. God, you are their inheritance, and where they rest, ease them with peace, and let us say, Amen.
Each year on Yom Hashoah, we pause to remember the 6 million Jews and 5 million others who were murdered in the Holocaust. We remember the lives stolen, the potential extinguished, and the generations that were never born. But today, we also remember those who survived, those who lived through the unimaginable and carried their stories, their pain, and their hope into the future. These survivors rebuilt lives, families, and communities from the ashes. And today, we mourn those survivors our Charleston community last year lost. Zinnia Berenbaum, Polina Sobchak, Ala and Vadim Farber. Zinnia Berenbaum was 99 years old when she passed, but her journey was one of defiance, resilience, and legacy. Her father had the wisdom to flee Ukraine, knowing that to stay meant certain death. The family escaped on the last train out of Kiev, a train that was bombed by the Germans. Those they left behind were burned alive in the building. For 4 years long, Zinnia and her family faced persecution, hunger, illness, and heartbreak. Her brother and fiancé were both taken by the war, and yet, through all of that, Zinnia survived. She built a beautiful life, and her legacy lives on with her children, her grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. She was a living link to history and a symbol of strength to all who knew her. Polina Sobchak survived in hiding as a child. That kind of trauma leaves deep scars, but Polina was more than a survivor. She was a teacher. She believed in the power of education of memory, and of sharing her story, so that others would understand what hatred can do and what resilience looks like. Her courage helped illuminate the darkness, and her loss is deeply felt. Alla and Vadim Farber, whose stories we are still learning more about, were also beloved members of our survivor community. They, too, bore witness to humanity's darkest hour and spent their lives helping to shine light in its aftermath. We honor their memory today with the same love and reverence. This year is especially significant. It marks the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the concentration camps. 80 years. It sounds like history, yet for many of us, it's personal. We grew up hearing the stories, we knew our survivors, we learned at their feet, but as we move further and further from that day of liberation, we are also moving further from their voices who can say, I was there. We are losing our bearers of witness, their silence is growing louder. Their presence is missed at community events, in classrooms, in conversations, at the Seder table, and in the subtle strength they carried wherever they went. The echoes of their lives call out to us now with urgency. And so the responsibility becomes ours to not let these stories fade, to ensure that Xenia, Polina, Alla, Vadim, and all the survivors who have passed, this year and in the years past, are not just names, but voices we carry forward. Memory is an act of love, and remembrance is a sacred duty. We must make it our mission to continue telling their stories, to stand up to injustice and anti-Semitism wherever it exists, to speak truth in the face of denial, and to choose love over hate again and again, like our Joe Engel said. May the memories of Xenia Berenbaum, Polina Subject, Alla, and Vadim Farber, and all the survivors we have lost be a blessing. And may we honor them not just today, but every single day, through our words, our actions, and our unwavering commitment to never again. Thank you.
I can think of no better tribute to the survivors and the legacy and the ones that we've lost this past year and continuing those legacies than to have had Samantha up here as she gets ready to welcome the next generation of that legacy of her grandparents and the survivors of her own family into her and Jacob's family. I know we wish them a Hashoah Tova. Tonight, as we gather to remember the 6 million Jewish men, women, and children murdered in the Holocaust, we recite the Kaddish. The Kaddish is not a prayer of death, but a prayer of life and of affirmation of faith, of resilience and hope. Traditionally, it's said by mourners. But on Yom HaShoah, we say it together as a community, ensuring that no one stands alone in remembrance. For this commemoration, we'll say the Camp Kaddish, a version of the prayer that emerged after the Shoah. As we prepare to say the Kaddish, we recognize that each person connects to this moment differently. You may choose to stand or not, to recite the words or to listen and reflect. However you participate, we ask that you do so with respect, honoring the memory of those that we've lost. At this time, please join us by standing if you so choose and are able to join us in the recitation of the Kaddish, which can be found in your programs and up here. We read together, Yitgadal, Auschwitz, V'yitgadash, Lodz, Shmei Rabbah, Ponar, Be'alma Divra Kirutei, Babi Yar, V'imlich Malchutei, Maidanek, V'chayechon V'yomechon, Birkenau, Uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael kovno, Ba'agala v'zman kariv, Janavska, v'imru amen, Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam umei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach Theresienstadt, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam Buchenwald, V'yitnaseh v'yitadar Treblinka, V'yit'aleh v'yit'alal Vilna, Shmei Tekudasha Brichu, Bergen-Belsen, Le'ela, Mathausen, Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Dachau, Tushbechata V'Nechamata, Minsk, Damiran Be'alma, Varsha, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Romav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Please be seated.
Everything has moved. 1 second. Shoah is the term used to describe the catastrophic murder of 11 million human beings between 1938 and 1945. 6 million of those victims were Jewish, including 1.5 million children. 5 million others were persecuted for their religious beliefs, political views, sexual orientation, or physical and mental disabilities. Every year we come together to pledge that none of these victims will be forgotten, and to remember that so long as any of us are persecuted, none of us are free. The pledges that will be read aloud will represent different members of the community who were impacted by the atrocities of the Shoah. As each representative reads their respective pledge, we ask that if you are also a part of that community and at your comfort level, please join in the reading of the pledge. While standing, if you are able, please remain standing for the entirety of the pledge. And tonight, I'm honored that the first pledge will be led by Harry Schneider, who is a child survivor. Harry is one of the few survivors we have left in our community. Deanie Atkins, who normally joins us, is still recovering from a medical issue. We treasure these survivors and the messages they share. Harry?
My name is Harry Schneider. I'm a Holocaust survivor. We are the survivors of the Shoah, the ones who carry the horrors in the minds of our hearts. We stand up here for those who have lost both the Shoah and the silence. We have dedicated our lives to education for future generations about the Holocaust, ensure that such atrocities never secure in our history.
The second pledge will be read by Faye Burns.
My name is Faye Burns, and I'm a child of survivors. If you are also a second generation, please stand and recite this with me. As the second generation, we embrace the responsibility of our legacy. We are the first generation born after the darkness of the Holocaust, some of us as displaced people. Through the survival of our parents and their memories, whether shared or unspoken, we are forever connected to those who perished. Their silence becomes our memory and our burden. This pledge is dedicated to our parents who suffered and survived, to our grandparents who perished, and to the over 1.5 million Jewish children cruelly murdered, including some of our own siblings. We will always remember. Amen.
The next pledge will be read by Jeremy Burns. The third pledge.
My name is Jeremy Burns, and I am a 3G, a grandchild of survivors. If you are also a third or fourth generation, please stand and recite this with me. As grandchildren, the third generation, and great-grandchildren, the fourth generation, and those yet to come, we recognize our duty to preserve and share our family stories. Whether we intimately knew them, vaguely remember them, or never had the chance, it is our responsibility to pass on their legacy. We do this for those in our family who cannot speak, and for those who have not yet found their voice.
The fourth pledge will be led by Hunter Hayes, and he is a cadet here at the Citadel. Can you join us?
My name is Hunter Hayes, and I'm a cadet here at the Citadel and Reserves in the United States Army. If you are also connected to the military, active or retired, or a descendant, please stand and recite this with us. We honor the courageous men and women who fought for freedom during the Holocaust and helped to liberate the concentration camps, some sacrificing their own lives to do so. Their bravery in combat and willingness to bear witness helps to preserve the memories.
The fifth pledge will be led by Reverend Eric Manning.
Good evening. I am Reverend Eric Manning of Mother Emanuel AME Church, and I am representing the 5 million others who were murdered in the Holocaust. If you are also a member of one of the other groups that were targeted during the Holocaust, please stand and recite this with me. We commemorate the 5 million other victims of the Holocaust, including Soviet POWs, Serbians, those with disabilities, political prisoners, deserters, Jehovah's Witnesses, gay men, Black Germans. As members of Charleston community, we pledge to confront hate speech and actions wherever they arise. We affirm that an attack on any targeted community is an attack on us all. We reject hatred in our community. Thank you.
The sixth pledge will be led by B.B. Tempest.
My name is B.B. Tempest, and I'm a proud educator. If you are also an educator, please stand and recite this with me. As educators in the Charleston community, we pledge to be diligent guardians of history, ensuring that the lessons of the Holocaust are not just learned, but deeply understood. Beyond textbooks and lectures, we will cultivate empathy, courage, and resilience in our students, empowering them to confront hatred and injustice wherever they may find it. We will inspire a generation not only to remember the past, but also to actively build a future founded on compassion, tolerance, and human dignity.
The final pledge will be led by Eva, Reek, and Layla Ragland.
My name is Eva Reek, and I'm a junior at Lucy Beckham High School. I'm also a current member of this year's Remember Project.
My name is Layla Ragland, and I'm a senior at Northwood Academy and a Remember Project cohort leader.
We pledge to uphold the memory of the Holocaust, dedicated to creating a world where all are accepted for who they are.
We will pass down the experiences of the Holocaust, ensuring that the memories of those who survived, those who were murdered, and those who never had a chance to truly live echo through generations.
Let us not only preserve the tragedies of the past, but also confront the injustices of today with unwavering resolve.
If you stand with us, please rise as a testament to our collective commitment.
Thank you again to everyone who stood and pledged to stand together as a community to honor the memories of those we have lost and to commit to a better tomorrow. As we look around, it's clear that while the Holocaust happened over 80 years ago and 4 generations ago, the impacts are still being felt today. Now I would like to invite Ari Zelig back up to lead us in singing Hatikva, Israel's national anthem. Hatikva was originally written as a poem in 1978. The poet, Naftali Herz Imber, was inspired by the early Zionism movement of the late 1800s. Today we sing Hatikva, the hope, as part of our collective community. Please stand together as we sing. You can find the words in your program.
Kol balevav penimam nefesh Yehudi homiya ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin lezion Sophia. Hatikvatenu, Hatikva בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים.
Thank you, Ari, and thank you all for being with us this evening. For those of you who have not met yet, I am Ta'ir Judajay, the CEO of the Charleston Jewish Federation. It is my honor to close this inspiring commemoration. As we close this evening, we reflect on the responsibility that comes with remembering. Tonight, we have honored the memories of those lost in the Holocaust, but that remembrance alone is not enough. We must act. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory once said, "To be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world serially threatened by despair." Hope is not passive. It requires courage. It requires action. And it requires each of us to be upstanders in our own way. Being an upstander does not mean taking grand, heroic actions. It means choosing to speak when others are silent. It means standing beside those who are vulnerable. It means using your voice, your resources, and your choices to make the world a better place. Each of us has the ability to take one action that can change the world. whether by educating others, standing against hatred, or supporting those in need. We honor the 6 million not just with our words, but with our deeds. Each of us, as one person, has the power to create change. Tonight, we ask you to commit to being an upstander in your own life. When the opportunity arises, take the step, speak up, reach out, support the work of the Charleston Jewish Federation so that way we continue to educate, inspire, and stand against hatred. Let us leave tonight not only remembering but doing, because remembrance should not be passive. Remembrance is a call to action. Thank you all for being here. May we go forward together with strength, with purpose, and with hope. Thank you all.